Welcome to Press Box Insider.
Let's go!
Join Josh Davis as he gives you insider access to all of your favorite sports, from football to fighting. Press Box Insider gets you in the box.
It's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. He doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat of the mic. He feels so unlike everybody else, alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know, but no, he knows the code. It's not about the salary.
What's up, Denver? Press Box Insider. I am your host, Josh Davis, alongside my co-host and producer, double dipping this evening, Jake Kazan. What's up, brother?
What's up? How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing well, doing well. What about yourself? Did you enjoy the weekend?
I did. I had a good weekend. Watched a lot of basketball. Hung out with some friends. Can't complain.
Well, and speaking of basketball, we have a butt whooping finishing up right now. This was a big game for Golden State. I mean, not only to get this victory, but to win it in this fashion, I think was a must. I mean, especially after how horribly they played on Saturday night. Just, if I'm being honest, Steph Curry played terrible. He was just atrocious. Obviously, you expect better, need better from your star player. But if a jump shooting team such as Golden State is going to win it all, they're going to continue to need to have nights like this. And coming out and just laying the smack down, that's what they needed to do to get back into the series. So, great win for Golden State. Thoughts?
Definitely. They could not afford to go down 3-1. I think only 8 teams in the history of the NBA have come back after being down 3-1, so that is not a good position for any team. So 20-point win is definitely what they needed.
Yes, it is. And you don't want to be down 3-1 in any sport, in any series. I mean, that's pretty much a death sentence. Now, obviously, teams do come back, but it's not where I'd want to be. So, good thing for Golden State. They get back into it, make the series relevant, make basketball exciting again. I'm stoked. Now, we are going to have a great show tonight, guys. We got a lot to talk about. I don't know if you... Did you watch any golf this weekend?
I did not catch any golf, unfortunately.
Now, I am guessing. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
But I'm guessing, Jake, you're not a golf fan.
I am not a huge golf fan. I did watch the Masters for the first time, and it was better than I thought. I never watched a golf tournament, but overall, I do not watch many golf tournaments, no.
So, Jake, how old are you?
24.
24. So, well, I guess you would have been a little young for the Tiger Woods boost. But I'm surprised, as big as that was, that you didn't, you're right in that age group. Why? How did it not get you?
Yeah, a lot of my friends are big golf fans. And I used to play we were talking about video games on the last show. I used to play Tiger Woods golf with them, and we'd have a good time with that. And I am a Tiger fan, and I was looking for him during the Masters, and when he's on and I come across him, I'll check him out. But, I mean, to your point, he was one of the only golfers I really knew growing up. Of course, Phil, but Tiger was the guy.
No, Tiger was the guy. He made golf relevant, and I'm probably going to get blasted for saying this, but he made golf relevant to people that weren't just filthy rich. Just being honest. He brought golf mainstream. He brought it to the layman's that honestly would not have otherwise picked up a golf club if it wasn't for this guy doing great things. So, I'll give Tiger credit. However, I'm left-handed, so I'm a Mickelson fan. I always have been. And actually, before I converted over to Mickelson, I was a Payne Stewart fan. But, yeah. So, give Tiger a lot of credit. However, I do think the Tiger's day is done, and I think because of that, golf has declined. So, let me ask you this, and I'm just trying to prove a point here. Jake, had Tiger won the Masters, would you have tuned in to watch him this weekend?
Oh, probably. Yeah, it would have gotten me pretty excited. And not that Jordan Spieth wasn't exciting, but if Tiger would have won, that would have definitely added an extra element of excitement.
See, and that's the point I'm getting to. I think had Tiger won, ratings for TPC would have gone through the roof. But because he's on the downside, decline in his career, so is golf. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about. Like I said, we do have a great show in line for this evening. And one of the guests that I have lined up for tonight is a PGA golf pro. One hell of a swing coach, I might add, too. Gary Woodside. We're going to get him on here in just a second, get his thoughts on everything that happened this weekend and what is the current state of golf. And to be honest, what golf has to look forward to. It's funny. You know, I come on here and you guys hear me say a lot of sports are dying. It's crazy. You know, I said the boxing's dying. A lot of people say that golf is dying. Now, I don't know that that is actually true, but without Tiger Woods, we'll have to see. So, I don't know. Let's go ahead and get Gary on the line. Gary, how you doing this evening?
JD, I'm great. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. So,
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
well, first off, it is an honor and a privilege to welcome you inside the press box. So, great to have you on. Second off, one hell of a day yesterday. Now,
Goodness, right?
no one cared about the first 3 days. You know, I liked it. I watched it, but I know a lot of the people I talked to weren't excited about it. Yesterday, my phone was blowing up. Talk to us about it. What did you see as a pro? What were you watching?
Well, Jay, Josh, it was incredible. I mean, the TPC has never been more exciting. You know, many of the players, they always think of it as a fifth major. So it's so important. You know, the field is so deep. It's the deepest field on tour. And they always have a worthy champion. And yet, it's not always the guy that bombs it out there and can hit it anywhere. They hit wedges in there and win tournaments. That's why Dustin Johnson has such a bad record there. Tiger, as great as he is, still has 2 wins there. He doesn't like that golf course. But Fred Funk has won there. Hewitt finishes high there, and they're not long hitters. But, wow, with Ricky yesterday and what he was able to do down the stretch, he was out of this tournament after 12 holes. But he finishes the last 6 holes 6 under, the last 4 holes 5 under, and posts to 12 under in the house, and lets everybody else kind of chase that. Well, you had several guys coming down the stretch that could have topped that, but a couple did tie him at 12 under, and they had a playoff for the ages. They went aggregate 3 holes, first time ever at the TPC, starting at 16, going through 18, the 3 hardest finishing holes in golf. And Ricky just ruled those holes all week, particularly 17 and 18. Yesterday he played 17 3 times, Josh, and made 2 every time. He was 5 under through 6 times throughout the tournament on 17. The island hole, the infamous hole. It's so difficult they can lose championships for people. Wow, he stiffed it there. All you golfers that saw this at the end where Sergio got himself in and then out of that playoff, and Kisner stayed in there, kept hanging, hit a wonderful shot in there, and then Fowler hit it inside it like 4 feet and then topped it off with a victory. So it was a special day. So many players having a chance. Wow, the excitement in golf created yesterday, Josh, is going to help this game a lot. So Ricky, the side note, was just noted as the most overrated player on tour, along with Ian Poulter. Overrated. Okay. Last year he finished top 5 in all 4 majors. He's only won 1 time. This is the first win in 70 tries. I get it. But he went to Butch about a year and a half ago, Harmon, and they just fixed his swing point. Wonderful change I wish I could have made on Ricky, but wow, he's hitting it straight, he's hitting it far. He's not nearly as inconsistent in impact as he used to be. And as a result, with that amazing short game, and wow, he has got some courage. I got to tell you, and you roll back to junior days and then Ryder Cup, when he's 3 down, 3 to go against Eduardo, Molinari, and Marty Celeste 3 to get half a point when he just had to. He is the player, and he's going to win a lot of tournaments. And you mentioned earlier, Josh, how golf is on the decline. It is. You know, it's expensive. It takes a lot of time, instruction. You know, you get good, or most of the time you don't. So, you know, you got to watch out who you listen to. Be careful on that. But, wow, I'd like to see more players enjoy the game, and I think this tournament this last weekend will get more started. So that's my hope.
Well, I have to agree with that. 2 things. So, first off, Gary, your feedback's killing me. Step away from your radio or turn it down. Either one will work just fine. No worries on that, though. Number 2, let's talk about Ricky. You mentioned, first off, that he moved over to Butch. Now, I didn't lead in with this, but Gary knows pretty much everybody in golf, knows Butch very well, knows Hank very well, has worked with them both. One of the things that Butch has done great with over the years is, I don't want to call them kids because they're not kids, but the younger golfer, the 21 to 28 range. Why is Ricky and Butch working so well together? What is it that Butch has that he's able to get these younger guys, like he did with Tiger, when they're at that age, to, I don't know, basically grow some testicles and just go out there and kill that course?
Well, you know, Ricky had a lot of game. He grew up in Southern California on a Muni track. He's a Muni rat, Josh. And a lot of tour players on that facility allowed him in their games. Earned a scholarship to OSU. And did extremely well, but he was pretty much self-taught. Now, that club went dead inside on the way back, so, I mean, he can go 65, but then he can go 75 pretty easy. Cost him a lot of tournaments. His ball striking was inconsistent. And Butch saw that the club was inside. Ricky chose to see Butch. And, you know, he's not only the guy that will fix you fundamentally, looking at ball flight, looking at positioning, let's fix it in a practical way. We're not going to change anything you don't, you know, you do so many things well. Let's not change those. But these are the things we got to fix. And they did that. He embraced it. Ricky did. He took the whole package really quickly, which told him a little more than he wanted to say, but Ricky said, hey, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And the results are unbelievable in the way he's striking the golf ball. His short game's so good. He's a great putter. You can see he has stones for the ages. I mean, he just loves to eat a battle, which I just so appreciate about him. And the future of golf is strong. But Butch helps guys. You look at Jimmy Walker, Josh. And this guy is 8 years on tour, hadn't got a victory. All he did is tighten him up. And he just don't let him swing back so far with his arms. He's got all the game. Yeah, big boy hits it for a mile. Just hit it wide sometimes. Like he's trying to fix Phil Mickelson, seeing Butch now in that regard. He stopped taking it that far. I mean, we can hit more fairways. We don't have to hit it left and right. So that Walker, then he just kind of shook Walker and said, hey, you're way too good. You show me some victories. This is unacceptable. And he told Ricky earlier in the year, Josh, hey, you're not working hard enough. Let's get after it. And Ricky took it to heart. And you can see the results of that yesterday at TPC. So it's a pretty special day for them both.
So what goes through Ricky's head when he starts the run? You know, he birdied the last 6 holes, and then including the playoff, 8 of the last 10 holes. So, I mean, seriously, for a guy on tour, being in that moment, which you know all about, what's it like? What's going through his head, being that far back and being like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to go for everything. I'm not going to play safe. I'm going to hit the ball and go for it.
Yeah, that was a great question. Josh.
Now,
You see
I
that?
shouldn't have, hold on. I shouldn't have asked that question. Well, I should have, but we're up against it. We have about 30 seconds left in this segment. So we're going to get to it on the other side of this break.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Press Box Insider, Mile High Sports. All right, welcome back, everybody. Press Box Insider, Mile High Sports, 94.1, 96.9 to everyone up there in Boulder. All right, we are going to talk some other sports. I know a lot of people get upset that I talk golf, but I love talking golf. There's just something about hitting a little white ball that is refreshing. So, with that being said, let's talk some fantasy baseball. Have you heard the news? DraftKings.com crowned its first ever fantasy baseball millionaire. Peter, the man. So, if you have not gone to DraftKings yet, I don't know how else I can tell you, but you need to get over there. Just head over to DraftKings.com, pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap. You have 2 pitchers, 6 position players. You don't need to wait for an entire season. You get paid daily, play daily. I love it. It is truly the best. Hurry over to DraftKings.com. Use the promo code PBI to play for free in the $100,000 baseball. I'm sorry, that's $300,000 baseball giveaway that they're doing. $300,000. Use PBI to play for free. Again, go to DraftKings.com, enter PBI. That's PBI. Press Box Insider. Play for free. DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com. All right. So, Jake, let me ask you this. Where do you want to start? You want to start with what is the big news of the day? I guess that would be Tom Brady's suspension. Or do you want to talk about Bronco football and the rest of the NFL?
I said we talk about the rest of the NFL.
All
I
right.
would be more interested in that.
Well, I can't say that I disagree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there was some closure today with the suspension being levied on Tom Brady, but it is kind of a boring story to me. Is it the same for you, since we've heard so much about it since February?
Well, all right.
I guess here we go. We just got into it.
I'm
Let's
sorry,
go for it.
everyone. We're just going to go for it. Here's the deal. I think this is a whole bunch of nonsense. I really do. I got to be honest. I don't care if Tom Brady himself grabbed all 12, 15, whatever footballs, stuck the needle in there and deflated it himself. I really don't. Again, I said it last week. That stuff happens all over the league. Just like I don't care if a guy wore a cleat that was 1/8 of an inch longer than what is allowed. Don't care. I don't care if a guy has some kind of stickum or whatever. I don't care about none of that. Because again, while you may get a competitive advantage for a split second, you may not. You know, I really don't care. That's not the issue I have. The issue I have is that he just didn't come out and say, you know what, I told McNally to make the balls the way that I like them. We've discussed that in the past. He did whatever he does. The balls were exactly how I liked them. We played the game and just moved on. You know, seriously. Because that's exactly what happened. I mean, if you really look at it, that's exactly what happened. No, Tom did not say, hey, get out of scale and put these exactly at 9.5 PSI. Nowhere in any of the texts or any of the evidence do we have anything like that. We have discussions. And so Tom told him, dude, you know how I like the ball? Make it that way. Plain and simple. Do I think McNally was in there weighing each one of them? No. I think he went in there, took the needle, and moved on. Gave him a little squeeze. Cool. Feels right. And off he went. I really don't have an issue with that. What I have the issue with is that he just flat out lied and said that he didn't know, dude, and made this what it is. I do blame Tom for us being where we are, but not for being this quote-unquote cheat or anything like that. Kind of like when Bill Clinton got busted for Monica Lewinsky. Had he just owned up from the beginning, it would have been a non-issue. No one would have cared. We are the most forgiving people in the entire world. We don't care. But we don't like being lied to.
Very true. Very true.
That's the thing. Even with all the steroid scandal, baseball fans wouldn't care. They would have griped and moaned for a couple of days, and there would have been quote-unquote asterisk this, asterisk that. But they would have moved on so much quicker. No one would have cared because everyone told the truth.
It's a good point. It's like Jason Giambi, who came out and told the truth. And I've talked about Jason on other shows as well. But he was a hero on the Rockies. All of the players in the locker room adored him, and he was looked up to. And you get a guy like Roger Clemens or Barry Bonds, and since they lied, they're looked down upon as cheaters, and it sticks out in your mind more than Jason Giambi.
Yeah, seriously, 10 years from now, no one will even remember that Jason Giambi took steroids and that he admitted to it. No one will even remember. But 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, everyone will remember Barry Bonds denying it, Roger Clemens denying it, Sammy Sosa denying it, Mark McGuire looking the congressman in the eye, sticking his finger out. I did not use steroids. Yes, you did. You know, all Tom Brady had to do from the very beginning was simply say, yeah. Oh, were they too low? Why didn't the referee say something during the game? You know, this is the way I've done it ever since 2006 when we put the rule into place. It's never been an issue before. Why is it an issue now? And if I was Tom Brady, that's exactly how I would have done it. The problem is, like with most things we do in the media, we're real good at this. We put him on the spot. You know, we hit him up at a time where he wasn't prepared to answer the question. And not that he needs a prepared statement, but he does need time to talk to his boss and his other boss, meaning Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. I mean, absolutely. You can't ask the man that question at that time and not expect some BS answer because he's not in a position to be honest. So I do think the media needs to take some culpability here, but again, the onus relies on Tom. The reason why we're here today is because Tom didn't just show the testicular fortitude that we tell every one of our kids in this country to do, tell the truth.
I think he misremembers.
Exactly. You get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, you own up to it. Now, there's more to it than just that. If you remember, and I can't remember exactly what they were complaining about, but Tom Brady had made some quotes the week before about the Ravens needing to know the rule book. And then for him to come out, you know, and have to admit that he violated a quote-unquote rule would be kind of tough to do in that situation. But again, all he had to say is, yeah, I told McNally to get it to the way that I like it and move on. And then they could have said, how's that? Well, we go through a process, you know, and explain the process. Because honestly, do I think anything different happened that day than it did any other day? No, I think the difference is the place where it happened. I think because it was a championship game, there was a little bit more eyes on the football than in normal games. And so he had to go to the bathroom and lock himself in.
Now, this is a question I've been thinking about. If he would have, like you said, come out and been honest and said, look, the footballs were tampered with. I like them a certain way. I like them deflated, whatever. Do you think that he would be playing in the Super Bowl? I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the league would have had to act on it at that point.
Well, I think, yes, he would have been playing in the Super Bowl. I think, again, if he says that, hey, I've been doing this since 2006, and every game, multiple officials have grabbed these footballs. Other teams' ball boys have grabbed these footballs. They've been in so many hands. Why is it just now? You know, it's like, I would kind of, I don't want to say throw it back on the NFL, but I would just be honest. Hey, this is something that I have always done since the rule change, since I've been in control of my own footballs. It's never been an issue before. Why is it an issue now? No, I don't think the NFL would have suspended him. I think the NFL actually would have really focused on McNally, and he could have shown all his texts and whatnot like he did. But again, there's not one text in there from Tom stating, hey, I want it at this specified PSI. Now, Tom didn't turn over his texts. But guess what? He didn't need to get all of the incoming texts to McNally. They're already on McNally's phone. So that communication is already there. Even though Tom, made himself look bad by not complying, all of the information that they're looking for, they already had access to because they had McNally's phone with all the incoming texts from Tom already on there. They had other dude's phone, again, with all that communication already on there. They weren't going to get anything different from Tom's phone, except instead of saying text message received, it would have said text message sent. So they already had all the information. Nothing like that was in there. So I think it really would have, unfortunately, I think McNally would have been the scapegoat. Now, do I think they were all in cahoots? Absolutely. But again, the issue, I don't have an issue with a deflated football. I really don't. If a pitcher chooses to throw some Vaseline on his ball cap, if he doesn't get caught, it's whatever. I mean, seriously. I do not think that deflated balls changed the outcome of that game. The fact of the matter is the Indianapolis Colts didn't show up to play.
And an interesting fact, after his 4-game suspension, Brady will face off against the Indianapolis Colts in Week 5.
Yeah, I do find that funny. You guys know I'm a Seahawks fan. I've said it numerous times on this show. Brady in the Super Bowl lit up my Seahawks defense. 30 of 50, I think 4 touchdowns, whatever. He lit them up. No deflated balls. We know that. I mean, come on. It's not like this guy has done everything he's done throughout the course of his career because he's been cheating with football. So it's not the case. The guy is a Hall of Famer. Again, the issue I have is this is all Tom's fault because he lied. Tell the truth. And I honestly don't think we're here. I think McNally's probably fired and banned from the NFL, to be honest, and so is other dude. But I think everything else, they're moving on. And maybe Tom gets a fine for violating, the rule. $40,000 fine, $50,000 fine, whatever it may be, but he's not suspended for 4 games. And I could be wrong, but that is based on just the history of sports and watching people lie and what happens to them and watching people tell the truth and what happens to them. It's very easy to see that we wouldn't be here had he told the truth. Now, with that being said, 4 games.
You called it, I think, last week. That was the punishment that you said that you thought would happen.
That is the punishment that I thought would happen, and I'll tell you why. Because it's standard for steroid abuse, substance abuse, performance enhancing. And that's the only other way that I can equate this. You're trying to get a competitive edge. So that was my theory behind the 4-game suspension. I don't think, and I want to get your thoughts on it, and if you guys want to join the show, please do. 303-297-1510. Again, that's 303-297-1510. You can hit us up on Twitter at PBI On Air or at Josh Davis Sports.
At The Real Hazan.
All right. So we got a minute left in the segment. So I'm going to throw this out to everybody. Was 4 games too much? And do you think that the NFL will cut it to 2? Do you think they will cut this in half? It's the golden boy, Tom Brady. All right. We're up against it. We got a commercial break. You are listening to Pressbox Insider, Mile High Sports, 94.1, 96.9.
Get high, man, listen to me. One drink ain't enough, Jack, you better make it 3. Gonna You ready?
Welcome to Pressbox Insider.
Let's go.
Join Josh Davis as he gives you insider access to all of your favorite sports, from football to fighting. Pressbox Insider gets you in the box.
It's like this, yo. This is 10%.
Welcome back, everybody. Man, time is just flying by this evening. It's just one of those things. So, the question I posed, 303-297-1510, 303-297-1510, at Josh Davis Sports, at PBI On Air.
At the Real Hazam.
Is 4 games a little bit stiff? Too much, not enough? The exact right amount? And do you think the NFL is going to lighten it? What do you think?
I think it's a good punishment. 4 games, quarter of the season. They lose some first-round draft pick in 2016, I believe. They get fined $1 million. I think it's fair. I'm honestly just happy that the punishment has been given, and we can just move on at this point. But you mentioned in the last segment about the appeal. Brady will appeal the suspension. It could be cut in half. There's some speculation about that. I don't think it is cut in half just because the Colts are in the 5th week. So the Patriots will play the Colts in week 5, and I think the NFL loves that schedule-wise, so it's going to stay like that.
I do too, and people sit back and say, oh, that they don't think about that stuff. Yeah, they do. Absolutely, they do. The NFL's all about ratings. Anything they can do to get higher ratings, the more money they make. So, heck yeah, they think about that stuff. The other reason why I think it's going to stay at 4 is fairly simple. All right. You know, when Roethlisberger got suspended for 6 games, whatever, and then it got reduced, there were specific steps. Go to counseling, do this, do that. You know, here's what you do. If you do these things, it'll get reduced. How are they going to do that with Tom? Are they going to say, hey, come out, tell the truth, admit to it, own up to it, accept responsibility, and we'll only give you 2 games? I mean, seriously, what are they gonna do to tell him to justify to everybody else why they're going to reduce it? I don't think they can, so I think it's staying at 4.
I'll agree with you on that. And yeah, especially with that week 5 matchup, the NFL is going to love that. It's almost like they planned it out.
Seems a little bit fishy, but hey, you know, who am I to spread conspiracies? I deal with the facts, and I don't have facts to support that, just my own personal beliefs. But yeah, I do think that comes into play, and absolutely. Now, with that being said, they did get fined $1 million. I wonder who pays that. It's got to come from Robert Kraft.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
You know, not that it matters. I mean, he has probably spent more than that in the amount of time I've been talking on the show tonight. So it's not going to hurt him. The first round pick in the 2016 draft, let's say they win the Super Bowl again. So it's a 32nd pick. They don't care. And let's be honest, even with Tom being gone 4 games, they could go 0-4. They went 1-3 to start the season last year, still won the Super Bowl. So they could go 0-4 and be just fine. They're the Patriots. They find a way to win. However that may be, they get it done. So I don't think that's going to bother them. The 4th round pick in 2017, that might actually hurt them more than anything. Yes, it's only a 4th round pick, but look at the Patriots roster. Look at where they find their talent. It's not the 1st round. It's not the 2nd round. it's the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. They love those picks. So that might actually hurt them. Losing Tom Brady for 4 games, honestly, the only one that loses there is the fans. Because think about this. The first game of the season is the Steelers versus the Patriots on Thursday night. Who cares about that game now? No one. No one. It is going to do poor in the ratings. No one cares about it. People want to see Tom Brady. Whether you like him, whether you hate him, people want to see Tom Brady. That's just how it is. So ultimately, the only one who suffers with all these sanctions is the fans. Now, yeah, Tom's going to lose $2 million in game checks by not playing. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. He doesn't care. I mean, seriously. Guy has more money than God. His supermodel wife has more money than God. Doesn't matter. The only one who loses is fans. So, let's move on. There are other things going on in the NFL. And this is one thing that really bothers me. And I want to get this out before we get into the next segment, because we do have another guest calling in. MMA insider from the MMA Corner, Justin Fuller, will be calling in this evening to talk some MMA, recapping the fights over the weekend. Rookie minicamp has proven year in and year out to be a killer. To be a killer. Rookies getting injured left and right. Now, over the weekend, Dante Fowler, the Jags' first pick, the 3rd overall pick in the draft, out. Torn ACL. Who cares, right? We're Broncos fans. I get it. I'm getting to that because it does affect us. Our 3rd round pick, Jeff Hireman, tight end from Ohio State, tore his ACL, out for the season. Why do we have rookie minicamp? Seriously, I understand why we have a rookie minicamp, but why do we have rookie minicamp right now? Why are they doing any kind of drills, anything like that? None of these guys are in football shape, okay? According to a lot of media, for instance, Shane Ray's done nothing but smoke pot. Can't have him out there trying to run down an opposing quarterback. We need him in football shape, in some kind of playing shape. So I understand you want to do some drills, that kind of stuff. I get that. But you got to remember, a lot of these guys don't understand anything but going balls to the wall. They really don't. Whether they're in shape or not. And again, he's a rookie, 3rd round pick. But we drafted him for a reason. We had plans for him. And it's not just us as the Broncos are suffering. This, like I said, happens all the time. So, Jake, why do we have rookie minicamp? I mean, if you were a GM, would you not be telling, especially your number 1 guy, hey, you're good. Just chill, half-ass at best?
Well, I mean, I'm not too familiar about what they go through in rookie minicamp, but obviously with these injuries, it raises an eyebrow. You have to raise an eyebrow because, I mean, these guys are out for the season. This is their rookie year. It is disappointing that you lose, especially for the Jaguars, you lose the 3rd pick of the draft. But I would like to think that he was in shape. I mean, if you're preparing to be in the NFL, wouldn't you be in shape when you check into rookie minicamp or whatever it may be? And I do understand what you're saying. You want to get them closer to game shape when they're doing active live drills. But I don't know. If he's tearing his ACL in rookie minicamp, it's hard for me to believe that he wouldn't tear his ACL 2-3 weeks from now.
And you bring up a good point. Maybe it was weak. Could have happened at any time. A couple of things. First off, being in shape and being ready to run through drills are two different things. You figure the last serious activity that they did was their senior day, which is after the combine. They have their senior pro workout. And again, they're just running drills. Then for some of them, they're going through classes, going through finals, finishing up that degree, all of that kind of stuff. For others, it's family time. It's going back home and, lounging, to be honest, being lazy and just killing time. Maybe throwing a football here and there, but you're not working out. You're not, staying active. You're not running 3 miles every day like you would normally. You're just resting. The hard work's over. Now you kind of get to enjoy the spoils, and then boom, it's rookie minicamp. And no, back in the day, things used to be different. Rookie minicamp, they used to truly get after it. But now with the collective bargaining agreement and all that kind of stuff, there's no contact or anything like that, or at least there's not supposed to be. But contact is subject to interpretation, because if you saw what happened to Dante Fowler, yeah, there was contact there. He was, pushing a guy who was lined up at tackle. That's contact. But they weren't in pads. So, it's dicey. My thought is, though, there's got to be a better way to do it. Now, in the NFL's defense, Dante Fowler is the first top 3 pick to miss his opening season since Kajana Carter way back in the early 90s. But rookies constantly get injured in this specific type of minicamp. It's kind of why people, I'll use Demaryius Thomas, for instance, skips out on OTAs. Because people get injured. There's no real point. You're not doing anything football significant. And what I mean by that is truly getting ready to make the squad. It's just a camp for you to, again, get loose, to get ready for the season. Guys should not be getting injured.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I think it hurts. So I want to ask you this. This is a question. Well, actually, I'll get to that. On another show. I've been holding this question for a week now. It can wait one more day. Why not? Power rankings came out today. And I don't know how you do power rankings before a season even starts. That really does baffle me. But we love our computer-generated algorithms. And so, hey, power rankings came out. Seahawks number 1. Patriots number 2. Now, this came out before Tom Brady's suspension. So I wonder how much that would change it. It changed the odds in Vegas from 8-1 to 10-1 that they're going to win the Super Bowl. Not that big of a difference, but a little bit. So Seahawks number 1, Patriots number 2, Packers number 3, Broncos number 4, and the Colts round out the top 5. Jake, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with these power rankings?
Well, that would definitely be my top 5. I don't know if I would put them in the same order, but for the most part, it sounds pretty good to me. The Colts all of those teams are going to contend for a Super Bowl. The Colts picked up Andre Johnson. They added some depth to their roster. Of course, the Broncos with Peyton. Packers, Seahawks, and Patriots. That's a well-rounded top 5.
So what I see here is we have the 4 teams that went to the conference championships, and then the Broncos. And I'm assuming it's the Broncos because of Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
With that said, I don't know how you do anything like this beforehand because, I look at a team like the Steelers. You never know what they're going to do. They could be vicious.
Very true. Yeah, that is true.
The Ravens. Who knows? They could have been a couple PSI from knocking the Patriots out of the Super Bowl out of the playoffs. So how are the Ravens not on the list? I don't know how we do stuff like this early in the season, but we do. Now, with that being said, on this list right now, Jake, and again, it's so early, this is garbage, but we're going to do it anyways. Of those 5 teams, how many of those, or I should say, will any of those teams be in the conference championship?
I would say yes, four of those teams in my mind right now.
Who? Well, just say who's not going to be there. That'll be easier.
Wow. Okay, so we got the NFC is the Packers and the Seahawks. I'm going to say the Broncos and the Patriots.
So the Colts find themselves.
I think the Colts are the odd team out, yeah.
Now, if that works, then right off the bat, before the season even started, this computer algorithm told us how the season would end based on the draft and formulated nonsense. If this works out, I'm going to go crazy. I'm serious. I will go crazy. There's no point in even playing. All right, guys, we're going to get into MMA on the other side of this. Press Box Insider, Mile High Sports. Welcome back, Denver. Press Box Insider. Josh Davis, Jake Kazan. 4 segments down, 2 to go. So, here's the deal. We're going to talk some MMA. We had UFC Fight Night 65 this past weekend. We might get into some boxing, too. There was a good boxing fight as well. But we are going to bring on MMA Insider from the MMAcorner.com, Justin Fuller. Justin, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Josh. Thanks for having me.
No, it's good. It's great to have you. So, well, let me ask you this: how's the MMA world out there in Seattle?
You know, it's one of those hidden gems, right? We've got some good regional fights going on. There's some top-level fighters that train and live out here. It's not quite at that level of South Florida or Southern California, but you can never sleep on the Northwest.
No, you cannot. A lot of great fighters coming out of the Northwest. All right, UFC Fight Night 65. Before I ramble on about my thoughts, break it down. Give us your thoughts. What you think of the overall card?
You want to talk about awesome main cards? This is it. We had 4 finishes. A lot of great fighters, a lot of great talent. I wish it was on TV and not on Fight Pass because it just delivered top to bottom.
You know, and I bet the UFC's kicking themselves right now as they look at some of the things that have been on Fox Sports 1 and some of the things that have been on Fight Pass, and like, dang, we need to do better with our scheduling. So let's talk about this card. First, let's head up the main event. Mark Hunt, who anyone who follows MMA knows Mark Hunt from his days in Pride, K1 Kickboxing. I mean, obviously the guy's been around forever. I don't think I ever thought that I would see the day where he just got manhandled like that. I mean, he got beat up by Junior Dos Santos, but dude was hit in the face 360 times. And seriously. So, is Stipe Miocic the real deal?
I think he is. This definitely put him back in the hunt. Big win for Stipe Miocic. And, you know, while I was kind of 50-50 on this one, I was rooting for Mark Hunt. Always going to be a Mark Hunt fan. But I did not think that this was how it was going to play out. He had that war with Silva. His last fight with Verdum, he was winning the first round, and he's the king of the walk-off KO. So even when he's getting worked, he's always dangerous. So it kind of broke my heart a little bit the way it played out. But at the same time, yeah, this definitely puts Stipe right there. I say give him the winner of the Arlovsky-T. Brown fight.
So let me ask you this. There's been a whole lot of controversy about the stoppage of this fight. Like you just said, Mark Hunt is the king of the walk-off KO. Should this fight have been stopped earlier?
You know, I think it's one of those things when it's going down and there's a lot of emotions at play. Some people are going to say yes, some are going to say no. If you go back and watch it again, you know, you might say different. They said the same thing about JDS, Cain Velasquez, their third fight, saying that should have been stopped earlier. And when you're watching it, you feel like that. But then that was one that when I rewatched later, I was like, no, maybe the corner should have thrown in the towel, but at no point should the ref stop JDS from continuing on in that fight in an earlier round. So I think that's just sort of, but at the same time, the referee needs to know he's in the cage with. So a guy like Mark Hunt, he plays possum a lot too, and he's always dangerous no matter how hurt he is. So if the referee knows that and knows this person, then he's taking that into consideration with his decision making.
Yeah, I have to agree with that 100%. We all know certain fighters literally can take more damage than others. You know, it's just the way it goes. I personally don't think that this fight should have been stopped sooner. Mark Hunt's a veteran. All right, if he didn't want to get off the stool, he didn't have to. You know, the fact that he continued to go out each round, I don't have an issue with it. I don't think it was a late stoppage. Mark certainly didn't think it was a late stoppage. So let me ask you this. Back-to-back losses for Mark Hunt. Obviously, the interim title loss to Fabricio Verdum. And again, like you said, it was a fight. First round, he was winning, and he was actually winning the first part of the second round until he got caught with the knee, and it was lights out. Then followed up by, obviously, a heartbreaking and devastating loss to Miocic. What's next for Mark Hunt? Have you heard anything? Do we know what's going on with him? I know some people had said he was thinking about calling it quits. That's not the Mark Hunt I know. What have you heard? What's the rumors?
I think with a guy like Hunt, he's going to get home. He's going to spend some time with his family. He's going to get healthy. And a guy like this, with as many fights as he has and all the experience he has, he still has that hunger to fight. I think the thing about the heavyweight division that I love the most is that these guys stay competitive into their 40s. And, you know, we have a lot of veterans in that division who, while they might not be able to beat the Stipe Miocics that are coming on up, you know, or be able to beat the Fabricio Verdums, they are also very viable in the division. So guys like Josh Barnett, Mirko Cro Cop, and I think that's probably what we might be looking at is Mark Hunt, Mirko Cro Cop. Just makes sense top to bottom in every way possible.
And I'm going to go on record right now. I agree with that fight. I know this is a long ways off, but I'm going to go on record right now. I'm going to say that fight is on the card of UFC 193. Because it's a pay-per-view event, I don't think it's strong enough to headline the card, nor do I think it's strong enough to be the co-main event. But this card is going to be in Melbourne Stadium in Australia. I mean, how do you not have Mark Hunt on that card? So I'm going to call it right now. I think the UFC, if Mark Hunt's down, I think they'll probably do it then. What are your thoughts?
And that's perfect timing. You know, that fight is 6 months away, so the timing's perfect for him to get time to recover, get healthy, get back into camp, hype the fight, and it'd be a perfect, you know, anchor for the main card on that, either as a co-main or as a marquee bout. Especially with Cro Cop coming off of that amazing fight he just had. The only thing that I would bet money Mark Hunt will be on that card. While I'd love to see him fight Cro Cop, they might have other plans for Cro Cop as they expand further into Eastern Europe.
Which is quite possible. And again, anyone who's followed the sport, Cro Cop's a draw anywhere he goes. You know, he could go to Brazil and headline a card. It doesn't matter. People love him. He's a draw anywhere he goes. So let's get back to Stipe Miocic. So you think he should get the winner of Travis Brown, Andrei Arlovsky? You don't think the UFC will give him a title shot if Cain Velasquez beats Fabricio Verdum? I think if Verdum wins the fight, his first title defense will be JDS. I honestly think that's how the UFC will go. But assuming Cain wins,
I think that's a tough one, and I think he could get the title shot, simply because. But it really comes down to how that fight plays out, the title unification bout between Velasquez and Verdum, as well as, who's healthy at the end of that fight. So if regardless of who wins, whoever has that belt is not healthy, and Velasquez is injury prone, so if he wins, the chances of him getting a quick turnaround of defending that, odds say he won't. If Miocic needs another fight just to solidify himself as the number one contender, because he did have that loss to JDS, I think it would have to be against the winner of Travis Brown and Arlovsky. And rankings-wise, that makes perfect, because T. Brown's at number 3 and Arlovsky's at 7. So the winner of that fight's going to pretty much be right there at number 3, number 4 with Miocic. And with Barnett, he's still coming off that loss. And last I heard, he was in talks about fighting Roy Nelson. So that wouldn't really make sense anyway.
Yeah, and actually, Josh Barnett's not fighting anyone anytime soon. He's taking time off to do a movie. So, we won't see Josh Barnett before probably November, December, if we even see him this year at all. So, that wouldn't make sense. No, I certainly see the possibilities there. So it's funny. The UFC, the heavyweight division in UFC, which is not a talent-rich division by any stretch of the means. We have elite fighters, but there's no depth to it. Is finally actually getting some fights that make sense, that people actually want to see and really are meaningful for the division.
Yeah, exactly. And we've had this happen before. We thought, okay, the division's finally getting deep. But then one person gets injured, and all of a sudden, we're in this downward spiral. We're finally in a position where we can have not one, but multiple injuries, including the champion, and the division still goes on. And I think a lot of that has to do with the continued viability of some of these veterans, like, Frank Mir, and bringing back Crow Cop and Mark Hunt. These guys still being competitive is what keeps that division going in the face of all the adversity that it's always had.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All right. So the main card of this event was solid. 4 finishes. The last 5 fights on this card were finishes. Let's talk about Robert Whittaker and Brad Tavares. Now, last week on the show, I said that I thought Tavares would walk through Whittaker. I thought that he's bigger, stronger, just better fighter. I love Robert. I love his old school style of English boxing, but I didn't think he'd be able to mess with Brad, and he got the knockout, 44 seconds. 2 things. What does this do for Robert Whittaker's career? And on the flip side, this is loss number 3 for Brad. Will he be getting a email tomorrow letting him know that he's been released from the UFC?
I'll start with Tavares. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's been around a while. This is loss number 3 in his last 6, but it's not loss number 3 in a row. So, when they do the math, hopefully that helps. I mean, he's also not a guy taking home a significant paycheck that they're going to take. He's not Crow Cop where they're paying Crow Cop money and they go, well, let's cut him and we'll bring him back in a few fights and pay him less money. So I think he's a guy who has been around a while, and I think they give him one more shot at the very least. For Whittaker, I thought if I had to put money, I would have said Tavares was going to get this one, but I at the same time was saying, like, Robert Whittaker, he's going to be surprising people. And if he does it, this is going to be the fight. This is his real test. Let's see what he can do in the middleweight division. And he brought it. He put on a great performance. And he is now in a key position to move up and get a big-name fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to take on someone like Michael Bisping. And I think I even said that this would have been a good fight for Michael Bisping.
Yeah, I like that. I think that fight certainly makes sense. All right, we're going to go to a commercial break. On the other side, we're going to continue wrapping up UFC Fight Night 65, and we'll get into other MMA news. Pressbox Insider, Mile High Sports.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the eighth wonder of the world, the flow of the century, always timeless. Oh.
All right, everybody, we're back.
Thank you for coming out tonight.
Rounding out
Anywhere in the world.
the final segment, talking some MMA. We have MMA Insider Justin Fuller on the line breaking down UFC Fight Night 65 for us. But before we get back to that, the wait is finally over. Baseball season is here at last, and the excitement continues all season long at DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments, just instant cash, instant gratification. Why wait until the end of the season to claim victory when you can win huge cash every day? At DraftKings, it's like a brand new season every time you play. Just select 2 pitchers, 8 position players, stay under the salary cap, and you could be on your way to an enormous payday. Last year, Peter from Colorado won $1 million at DraftKings in one day just playing fantasy baseball. Hundreds of thousands of fantasy sports fans just like you have already cashed in at DraftKings. Now it's your turn. Hurry over to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code PBI. Again, everybody, Pressbox Insider. It's the name of the show. Real easy. PBI to play for free. I got you hooked up. I am giving you free entry. Go play. You could win part of the $300 million in prizes being awarded this season. Use promo code PBI for free entry now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com. All right, Fuller. Let's get back into this. So,
Yeah, let's do it.
I like Bisping as an opponent for Whittaker. Again, I do think that makes sense. Let me ask you this. Because they're both English fighters, does the UFC do that here in the States? Or do they make that a main event and throw that over in England?
Oh, without a doubt. Whittaker has proven that he is at a level of those guys on competition, but he is not still quite yet the star level for the U.S. market. So Whittaker put himself in a position that he could headline a fight night, down under, or he could be a main event for a fight night in the UK. And obviously, Michael Bisping fighting anyone in the UK is a main event. So I think that would be a really good way to kind of help be a good breakout position for Whittaker. Another option I thought of during the break was having him take on the winner of Uriah Hall and Rafael Natal, which takes place on the next pay-per-view, Memorial Day weekend. So if for some reason Bisping isn't wanting to take a fight against a guy like Whittaker who isn't a big enough draw for him, I think he's still campaigning for that Machida fight, then that would make a good fight for Whittaker as well. The winner of Uriah Hall and Rafael Natal. And that could be on a main card in any country on any fight.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. I would love to see Robert Whittaker and Uriah Hall go at it. I think that would be exciting. I think that would be a great fight. I'd love to see it. All right. James Vick defeated James Matthews by guillotine, first round. Why is everybody so surprised about this? I mean, I love James Matthews. I think he's a stud. But last week on the show, I said that James Vick was going to beat him down. Why is everyone so surprised that the bigger, stronger, more athletic fighter was able to get the victory?
and the arguably more experienced fighter, not by much, but when you factor in those Ultimate Fighter fights and having a couple more fights under your belt in the UFC,
having to live in the Ultimate Fighter house. Yeah, I said, and also having to live in the Ultimate Fighter house. I mean, just that alone gives you a whole different level of experience that people can't understand.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, maybe they were seeing something we weren't seeing. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, I didn't think it was going to win by submission, but I definitely would not have thought to underestimate Vic at all. He's a tall guy. He had a 4-inch height advantage on him. That is no joke. And especially with those longer arms, that's just, that's exactly what you want going for those chokes.
Yeah, I mean, not only the 4-inch height advantage, but significant reach advantage, significant leg advantage. I mean, from the very beginning, I thought this was James's fight all the way, and then obviously he got it done. I mean, he's 6'3" in the 155-pound division. I mean, that's insane. So let me ask you this. I know you get the inside word on things. How long until the UFC starts to build this kid? I mean, when are they going to get to the point of saying, all right, we got to put him in the mix?
I think this is it. This was the one. He's 4-0. He's undefeated in his professional record. He's 4-0 in the UFC. He went 3-1 in the Ultimate Fighter house, which technically count as exhibition matches. He might not be in the rankings yet, but he is definitely got himself in a really good position to be on a bigger size card against a bigger name opponent. There's so many people in that division, it really wouldn't matter who it would be. That's their deepest division by far. The most people they have on roster are in that 155-pound division. So there's no shortage of opponents. But I think that they've done a really good job of bringing him up the right way. If you look at just his progression of opposition, and now he's right there. He's about to get his 5th fight in the octagon. Let's see what he can do against someone who we know is going to test him.
Yeah, he's going to get his 5th fight in the octagon, and he's going to move up that Reebok tier, get himself $5,000. Woohoo! All right. So let me ask you this: who was the biggest winner at UFC Fight Night 65?
Fight Pass subscribers, without a doubt.
So,
but as far as individuals go, Robert Whittaker, I think, winning a fight people didn't think he was going to win. Co-main event, definitely the fan favorite. The crowd favorite going into that. Put him on the map. Robert Whittaker is now officially ranked at number 14, and he was unranked before. And now he's there. Now he's the man.
He is the man, and he deserves to be the man. He fought on Tough Smash, or I can't remember what they called that specific.
It was the Smashes. It was UK versus Australia.
Yeah, Smashes. Yeah. That's right. So, no, the kid's got a lot of talent. I think he's a stud. It was good to see him get that quality victory. So, who was the biggest loser?
Ooh, probably Lisa Ellis. We're still trying to develop that division, but that puts her 0-2 in the UFC now, and her record wasn't really stellar before that, and she also had that long layoff before going in the house. At 32 years old, it's probably time for her to start looking at hanging them up, because she's not going to be able to make a serious run for the title. And with what she's getting paid at her level, might not even be financially sound to continue fighting.
Yeah, and no offense to Beck Rollins, but that kind of loss, I mean, let's be honest, those are the kind of career-ending losses. So, Sam Alvey did something that I absolutely love. And you want to talk about someone with testicular fortitude? That's this kid. So, with the UFC putting the lockdown on sponsorship and doing all their kind of stuff, this kid goes out and has a sponsor, tanned into his skin. He went into a tanning booth with the logo and put it on his skin so the UFC couldn't remove it. Now, he is in some significant trouble for this. He's going to have to pay some dues for it. But I absolutely love this. What did other fighters think about this? And honestly, I mean, I know he's in trouble, but what's the UFC going to do about this?
I think, if he was a bigger, let me put it this way, if more people knew who Sam Alvey was, not because of this incident, then they would do more to punish him, right? If Daniel Cormier did this, he's going to get a serious punishment because Daniel Cormier makes a lot of money, and he's a big name, and he's one of their front men, right? But because it's an undercard fighter on a Fight Pass card who did this, he wins. In fact, he was probably the biggest winner of the night, just taking that into consideration. How many people now are talking about Sam Alvey? And there's another guy who's right there. Like, he could fight Robert Whittaker. He's got 3 in a row first-round knockouts, and he does stuff like this. It's the balls on this kid, right? And I think a lot of fighters were supporting him. They liked it, but it kind of highlights a lot of the issues that still surround the sport, and specifically the UFC, as they continue this transition into a more recognizable, unified league consistent with team sports, basically. So, where it'll all play out, I don't think he'll get any serious punishment, but I definitely expect everyone to get some training on this in the next Fighter Summit.
It's funny that you bring it up. The UFC is trying to, legitimize itself like a team sport. Like Major League Baseball, the NFL, so on and so forth. But they're not a team sport. They're an individual sport. So let's look at individual sports. NASCAR, which is a team but still an individual sport, they are riddled with individual sponsorship. Golf, which I started the show with, riddled with individual sponsorship. Tiger has Nike, Phil has Callaway, so on and so forth. Does it not make sense for individual fighters to be able to have individual sponsorship?
I say yes and no. Well, I say this is where it gets a little tricky because, we can bring up examples of other individual sports, but the difference is when you look at golf and NASCAR, the barriers of entry into those organizations are it takes a lot of money to get into a position where you are playing on the PGA Pro Tour or you are in, NASCAR, like their Division I, basically, right? You're not on some lower level stock car race, but there's you have to compete at the lower levels and work your way up, and it's very, and tennis as well. There's not one promoter deciding who is and who is not, a member of the PGA. Plus, there's no competitors for PGA. I think, while we all think of the UFC as synonymous with MMA and it's the biggest one, they do still have competitors out there. And I think this is also part of, they're playing so many different games. They have to play games with working television deals. And they have to worry about the Viacom and Bellator thing going on, and these international competitors, as well as managing fighters. And it's just such a unique situation that I think they're just kind of picking and choosing what works best from every other different kind of sport possible and seeing if it works here. I think the one thing no one's really addressed with this Reebok deal is, while it might not be as much money as some guys get, this is a guaranteed paycheck. So that you don't have to hustle for. You don't need to worry about your agent and your manager hustling to get you more money and stressing out about that before the fight. this is a guaranteed paycheck that you can plan for. And I think that this is the first of many of these deals to come in the future. So while this is what it is now, that we will see, you know, the Gatorades come in, right? And other big blue chip sponsors and the Beats working into the UFC, which will double and triple and quadruple what that guaranteed sponsorship paycheck is.
And it is going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. The great thing about PressBox Insiders, we're on again tomorrow night and the night after that and the following night, so on and so forth. So we have plenty of time to talk about it. However, our time has run short tonight. It was a quick show. I want to thank Justin Fuller, TheMMAcorner.com, our MMA insider, for giving us a call. Justin, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Denver, we will be back tomorrow night at the same PressBox time, which is 10 p.m. to midnight. So, again, thank you for joining me. We'll be back tomorrow night. I'll try and not talk any Tom Brady. I can't make any promises, though. PressBox Insider, Josh Davis, Jay Kazan, Mile High Sports.
Big boy, big boy.